In Wicked and Wise, mice and dragons teamed up to win tricks. Like they do. Mice, dragons, trick taking. Yeah. Value manipulation. Normal things. Normal things for a normal day. Wicked and Wise is a fine, fun game. However, this video isn't about Wicked and Wise, but it is in the Wicked and Wise universe. This video is actually about Reef and Ruins. Reef and Ruins is about axolotl hydras or hydra axolotls. You be the judge. Teaming up with otters to roll 3 dice, each dice representing one of the hydra heads, and doing some exploration. Reef and Ruins was designed by Carla Kopp with illustrations from John Merchant. It's being published by Weird Giraffe Games. Plays 1 or more players in about 30 minutes for players ages 8 and up. Let me show you how it works. Okay, so if you didn't believe me when I said that Reef and Ruins was a 3-sheeter, do you believe me now? Yes, there's 3 sheets in Reef of Ruins. I said Reef of Ruins. Reef and Ruins, excuse me. So on the far left side, we have the ship ruins. In the center, we have enchantments. And on the right side, we have the Reef. The Reef is 2-sided. So there's an A and a B side, or a B and a C side. Well, there's 2 sides. So this side uses the polyominoes. So the different die values indicate a different polyomino, and then any die that you pick can just be 2 single spaces adjacent or not adjacent, I think. Doesn't have them together, so I guess that means they can be just 2 single spaces. The other side of the Reef, you start off in the center, and based on the number of die you're using. So if you start off in the center, you can connect these, but you have to use adjacency rules. So if I got a 6, I could come down to the 6 and mark that off, and then go to the 5, or you can move around and mark off different values. And much like the first sheet, I'll just put these side to side, you are trying to complete rows and columns. So if you complete this row, you get a pearl, and the pearls down here, these are just straight points. So you could mark that off, and that's 5 points. Or you can use the actual numbers here in the ship ruins. Very useful. Or, well, I'll get in that in just a second. But so you have this side, which uses like adjacency to complete rows and columns. And then you also have the polyomino side, which you're going to actually put these shapes into this area here. But the rule is you have to cover up a color. So I can't use 1, which is this shape here, and then cover up these 2 and then this one, because you have to cover up a color entirely. You can't just cover up one of these greens, cover all the green, not all the greens in the whole thing, but just the shape itself. And then if you complete a row, you get a pearl. Complete another row, you get a pearl. You complete these 2 rows, which are on top of each other, you get another pearl, which is kind of nice. You get like bonus ones for completing 2 adjacent rows, and then you get pearls for completing columns. And then, like I was saying, just like on the other sheet, you also get straight points, and then you can actually use these numbers elsewhere, over here or what have you. Pretty cool. The X's can be any number you want them to be. It's only 2 of them. So that's how the Reef works. The ship ruins give more value to the enchantments. So I don't know if you can see that there's a dotted line that goes from the ship ruins to the enchantments that are right across from it. And the reason that's important is, so for number 1, how it works is when you roll the dice, and everybody kind of, everybody has the same dice values to use. So this is 2, 4, 6. So through the magic of doing whatever I want, I'm going to make this a 1. Okay. So let's make this a 1, and so I have 1, 2, 2. Pretend I rolled that. Work with me now. So you can use 1 die to unlock a ship ruin. So you might be able to see there's a little lock icon on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1 die unlocks it, meaning now you can write something in one of these spaces. So if I unlock this one with this 1, then I could use these 2s and put these here. This is the same. So you want the same number next to each other. for this area, they're all different. And then based on the number for each ship ruin, you have points. So if I did 1 row, I get 1 point just for the first section. 2 rows, 4 points. 3 rows, 8 points. If I did all of it, and then whatever number you ultimately get, you write here. And how that works is as you unlock enchantments, and you know those enchantments are all 7 through 12, which means you need 2 dice to do anything with the enchantment. So let's say I had a 6 and a 1 that was rolled. Well, everybody has it because everybody's using the same dice values, but you can manipulate. I'll get to that in just a second. So let's say I got 7, 6 plus 1. So now I can do something here. You're just marking off the different enchantments going from left to right. So this is a multiplier of 2, and they all have different multipliers. They all don't go up to 5, but if you really, if you have a high, if you get the maximum number for a particular ship ruin, and then you go up the multiplier for the corresponding enchantment, you can multiply the ship ruin score by whatever the furthest multiplier to the right that you earn is. A lot of points. You probably want to do that. And then you're probably seeing these shells everywhere. You can see shells on the round tracker. So shells are earned in pairs. You start off with a pair of shells to use. How shells work is 1 shell lets you manipulate a die plus or minus 1. I don't remember if they go from 6 to 1. I don't believe so. Let me check. Okay, so shells do wrap around. So if you have a 6, you could go up, well, I guess down 1. No, that would be 5. If you have a 6, you could go up 1 to a 1. Because if you had a 1, you could go down to a 6, if that makes sense. So it does wrap around based on the rules. Like I said, they're earned in pairs. You can get some for just starting some of the rounds. They are earned in pairs, but you can use them individually. To manipulate a die, you can't. I don't think you can just use like 4 of them to go from a 6 to a 2. Although you could use 3 to go from a 6 to a 2. That's not the point, though. Ship ruins give the multipliers and enchantments their value based on how well you score for that individual ship ruin. You can't focus on all of them, but like this one goes up to 18. But you start from the bottom. This is a pyramid. You need 6s to unlock it, and higher squares must be equal or lower value. So you want to start off with low values and then go up. So if you get all the way to the top, that's 18 points. You put 18 here, it takes you 3 enchantments to get to basically a doubling multiplier. It takes you 3 more to get to a tripling multiplier. So, and then some of them just have straight values here that can be used elsewhere. Yeah, so these die values can be used in the Reef or the Ruin. So you can use these die values in a Ruin without necessarily having to have the number to unlock it, which that works out pretty well. So, another thing is everybody has a lucky number. So when the game starts, everybody would roll a die. Let's say 4 was my lucky number. So I would write 4 in here. So every time 4 appears in the ship ruin, and every time I use the 4 piece, if your lines kind of cross, you can just kind of keep a tally. If you feel like you're not going to be able to color them in here, so you can differentiate using this tetramino polyamino style piece. Do what you feel. Basically, you get 2 points every time your lucky number comes up, which is pretty cool. So scoring is basically your enchantment total, so your multipliers that come in, and these are also pearls too, which unlock more things here. You just cross them off as you use them. Your lucky number bonus and then Reef bonus. So I'm not sure what this is going to be in the final game. I think it still might be an otter. Or is this an otter? I think this is an otter. So this is the round marker. Keep in mind this is a prototype, so some things might be subject to change. And there are 18 rounds in the game. Sounds like a lot, but it goes by pretty fast. So you just, move this down and go through all 18. And like round 3, everybody just gets to circle on their shell track 2 more. 6, I believe you just roll a die, and then everybody gets to use that value. I think even before you roll for the actual round. And then like in 6 and 14, you just roll a die, and players can write that value into any ship ruin or anywhere into their Reef. they can use that corresponding number for a particular piece. So that's pretty cool. And then these are enchantments. So this is on round 9 and 18, halfway through and at the end that round, you can just circle on whatever track you want to without worrying about the value, unlocking it or whatever. You can just make progress on whatever enchantment track you wish. So round is fairly straightforward, but crunchy choices need to be made. So you roll all the dice, and let's see, we have 2, 2, 3. So now I can't do a whole lot with this in terms of the enchantments. I think you can add up all 3 and then use them in the enchantment. So I guess this is 7. I could just circle that and start making progress on that track. I could use 2 2s, a 3, whichever, or come over here and unlock something. So let's say I probably want to unlock something. So let's say I use this 2 to unlock Ruin 2, and then 2 3. So I would write in 2 and 3 because they don't equal each other. So you can't have anything that equals. I can put 3 here. I just can't put 3 here. If that makes sense. That could be around. So let's say I just wanted to write just the 1 2 for whatever reason. So I use a 2 to unlock this ruin, and then I wrote a 2 in there. So let's say for whatever reason I want to put the 3 in the reef and draw that shape in. I could do that. Oh, well, yeah. I'm forgetting what I said about having to use the rules about completing a color. Breaking my own rules. All right, I'll do it this way. So I'll do this. So I covered up all this green, all this blue, and that shape is there. I could do that. If I don't want to use a die, I get to circle 2 shells. So if you omit using a die, you get to circle 2 shells. It's sort of like your bonus for not using it. And then you move on to the next round, and you pick up those dice, and it doesn't matter who rolls it. You roll again. Ooh. So a 1 and 3 3. So maybe I'll go over to unlock Ship Ruin 1, and then write in both 3s. I could do that. Yeah. Okay, and now we're into round 3. Round 3, I circle a pair of shells, and then I roll. So I have 1 5 5. I'm gonna go over to Ruin 1, unlock it with the 1 5 5. And that's how Reef and Ruins works. When the game begins, you're just sort of open up to do kind of whatever you want. But as you can see, that was round 3. Now, granted, I'm just playing with myself. There is a solo mode. I'm not certain whether or not it's going to be just a score chasing mode, which kind of makes sense. But I do think there might be something. You can always do that if you want. But I do believe there is something forthcoming for a solo mode. But I'm kind of good either way. I like the fact that there's 3 sheets. I like being able to do something here which affects here, and you kind of bounce around, or you unlock this thing and do all this stuff. It definitely has that kind of back and forth thing going for it that I really like in Roll and Rights. Yeah. Oh, and look, if you're looking right now here, there is an otter. So yeah, that's, see, look at that, an otter to go along with this axolotl hydra thing. Yeah. This is also in the world of Wicked and Wise, where you have mice and dragons, because of course you do. So that is Reef and Ruin. Like I said, it does go by, depending on the choices you make, relatively quickly, but you definitely get to the point where you're like, what do I do here? You can just get into some min-maxing of just, hey, maybe instead of doing what I did here, I take these 2 5s. So now I use 10 and I circle that. And then I use 1 to come over here and draw a shape here, so I can start working on unlocking rows and columns to get the pearls, to get more of these bonuses, to write more values over here, or just get, points, or just start moving up this track. If you unlock all 5 of these, getting pearls here, or even pearls from the enchantments itself, you can move all the way up to, maybe you get this 4 multiplier after you get 8 here. It's 32 points. It's nothing to sneeze at or cough at, if I'm being honest. So yeah, Reef and Ruins, I'm going to say more words about it right now. If I did not mention it earlier, this copy of Reef and Ruins is a prototype, so some of the things that you saw could be subject to change. And I already said change could be good, but what's here is already good. Anyway, there should be a link in the description for the crowdfunding campaign for Reef and Ruins. That campaign also includes an expansion for Wicked and Wise called Wicked and Wise Reflections, which contains some new cards for that game as well. As I said before, there is a link in the description if you're interested in Reef and Ruins and some of the other items in this campaign. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. Take care. Stay safe. Be blessed.